Da, 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 da. Hi, everybody. Good morning. We're getting ready to start. I'm channeling. My father is a Lutheran minister, and so I'm very used to nobody sitting in the front two rows. But so if you are still, it is very nice. Like if you folks who are still coming in, like come on in and fill up some of these front seats. The show's a lot more interesting and fun up here. We're gonna have a great time. So thank you all so much for being here. My name is Tane Danger. I could not be more excited to be with you, and that is true. I know that it is not every person's dream to spend a Friday morning talking about the state of our region, but that is absolutely my dream because it is so important and it is so meaningful, and that is what we are going to hear about today. So I want to start by thanking all of you for being here and for the work that so many of the people in this room do towards what we are talking about today. I am going to be your MC for today. I'm going to introduce folks. We're going to have a great panel conversation. Just as a little bit of like a warm-up and welcoming, I wanted to know, did people see the buttons that are out there? Yeah, these are cool buttons. Yeah. And so you can collect them all. There's all these different colors and things, but there's two in particular. There's one that says, "We are on Dakota land," which is a very, important announcement, important thing to start with. Because we are on Dakota land. And then the other one says, "Imagine 2050. And so I think that it sounds maybe a little gimmicky, but I honestly think these two buttons are a wonderful way to frame where we are today and where we are going. Where we are, in terms of we are on Dakota land, we are in a place that has a wonderful history and a wonderful present, and we are challenging ourselves today to think about what is the future coming and what are we building together. So that's our mission. That's what we're doing here today. And to help get us kicked off, I am very excited to welcome the mayor of beautiful Hopkins. So, I'm going to give you a whole little spiel here. Mayor Patrick Hanlon was first elected in 2021. He previously served in a number of roles in Minneapolis. And then there's just this note here, which gives me no context, that your family did own a restaurant in Hopkins. What was the restaurant?
It's called the Boston Garden.
The Boston Garden in Hopkins. Yeah, I love.
Boston Subway when it started after the light rail system there.
Okay. Oh, it has Boston and a subway system in it. Okay, so you are really checking all the boxes. All right, with that, please, a big round of applause. Mayor Hanlon, everybody.
Hello. Welcome to Hopkins for the Met Council State of the Region, or as we call it in Hopkins, the State of Greater Hopkins. Thank you for joining us. It's usually my job when we come up for these events to name all the important folks in the room and all the dignitaries and folks that dedicate their time, but I would literally have to go row by row and read point everyone out. So thank you all for coming here today, and we planned some snow for the day. I have an iconic Mainstreet moment for you here today. Some people ask how we landed the State of the Region, and I'm just saying that you may see Chair Zelli walking around the Raspberry Festival with a little extra helping of raspberries on his ice cream this summer. Even in small towns, even our bribes are adorable. But seriously, I would guess that we're here because as a small city, we are out-resourced by a lot of our neighbors, which are lovely folks and lovely people, but it's a small town. We're 4 square miles, and it's cities like ours why we need a regional government agency for strong planning, and we've benefited greatly by regional approaches to transportation, to parks, to infrastructure. We pride ourselves on punching above our weight here in Hopkins, but it doesn't hurt to have a great regional partner like the Met Council. And they do an amazing job of creating space to talk and have conversations, and as most of you know in this room, and they know full well, those conversations aren't always pleasant. We've had a lot of our direct feedback from Hopkins, and I have been so amazed as a government agency how well they listen and how well they come back with solutions for us in ways that we just don't get heard at other tables. So it's really great to have a partner like the Met Council. We've had, Hopkins is going through a lot of change right now, and we've had some concerns about the light rail transit coming to Hopkins. Most folks love it and are embracing it, but as you all know as well, there are concerns about it, and there are people that are concerned about having a train line come to Hopkins. And the first thing I usually say is the city of Hopkins is literally named after a train stop. Harley Hopkins, when it was West Minneapolis, and when the train authority came to town, he said, "You can put a stop on my land, but you got to call it Hopkins." And so after that, everyone just referred to the city as Hopkins and later officially changed the name. It was a bustling market center in the West Metro until we ripped up a world-class trolley system and the train system no longer brought folks out here. So in a lot of ways, what's going on right now with light rail transit coming to Hopkins, we are returning to our roots as a bustling market center in the West Metro. And we went from years where people moved out to strip malls and malls in suburbs, and people are coming back to a walkable, thriving community where we have a tremendous amount of growth. We're 19,000 people here, and we have one development alone that's bringing 1,500 new households into the city right along the rail line. Right across the street as you walk out, you can see some great developments that's really, people want to be a part of this. And, the light rail is really making it possible for Hopkins to grow again. I like to tell people that Hopkins is back, baby. It's a great time to be in Hopkins, and one of the biggest issues that we have right now is our scissors for the ribbon cuttings is getting dull. With all the restaurants and things coming to Hopkins. And so it's lucky we have a sharpening place right here on Main Street, so it's kind of like old and new coming together. But thank you all. I hope you can take part in some of these new businesses. We have a new Italian restaurant coming in, Peruvian Nikkei experience, sushi experience. Pink Ivy just came in. There are just a number of wonderful restaurants. Term that I'm also using is Eat Street, Eat Your Heart Out. It's a good time to come and eat here at Hopkins. So come hungry. We also have the Food Truck Festival this summer. So. Lots of great things going on here in Hopkins. Thank you again all for taking your time to come to Hopkins today and see what's going on here, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the presentations. Thank you so much.
Feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah, hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're around it. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, some days you wake up and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep good things inside your ears just like the waves and sound it. And just say whatever, cause there is no way you're grounded. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
All right. I have the honor of introducing the chair of the Metropolitan Council. He's the 17th chair appointed in 2020. He and I actually, and I'll explain why I'm saying this. He and I first met when he was serving as Minnesota's Department of Transportation Commissioner, and we were supposed to do an event together at Anoka Hennepin Community College, and a terrible blizzard came, and then just the chair or the commissioner at that time and I ended up sitting together alone in a classroom for several hours. So I want to say, A, this snowstorm is our fault. And B, if you ever have the chance, like sit in a classroom with Charlie Zelli, because he is one of the most insightful, intelligent, smart people that I've ever gotten to know. I am so excited to hear him today. Please, a big round of applause for Chair Charlie Zelli.
Thank you, Tane. That was a memorable afternoon, and we all love snowstorms in Minnesota, so thank you for being here. Nothing stopped you from coming, and it's great to see you all here this morning. On behalf of the Met Council members and staff, we're so honored that you've joined us to celebrate, frankly, a dynamic region. And I know we all share the belief that it is really important. We'll have an opportunity to learn about the state of the region after, frankly, over a 5-year hiatus. So I want to thank you all for being here, and I especially want to thank Mayor Hanlon. That was a lovely, warm welcome. Yes, it is true. I love raspberries, so I'm really looking forward to that payoff this summer. And my wife is here. She knows I like it with ice cream, just in case you want to make a note. But honestly, your city council, staff members, your wonderful partners, we're so pleased to be here in Hopkins. I mean, this Main Street really says it all as to what we all are trying to achieve together. But before we begin on our conversation, I want to introduce my boss, Governor Walz, who has a brief message for all of us.
Hi everyone, Governor Tim Walz here. Moving forward as one Minnesota means making our state the best place in the nation to live, work, and raise a family. The Metropolitan Council was formed nearly 60 years ago for that very reason, because truly making Minnesota the best it can be takes all of us in all areas of the state. Each day, we see the impact that the Met Council has on achieving that one Minnesota vision. Thanks to Chair Zelli, the Met Council, and all of you here today for what you've been able to do to make some big investments in the region. This includes clean water, a robust transportation system, and sustainable housing. As leaders, your voice matters. Your community matters. Your work together to serve the entire region, because without the voices of every single community, we can't thrive as a whole. Because a healthy metro is a healthy Minnesota. I know I'm a bit biased, but I'm honored to work for a state that has great people like you who want to make a difference for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Walz. Now let's all take a moment and imagine. Imagine a region where everyone has a home to go to that is affordable, safe, and secure. A water system that provides clean and abundant water. Remember, Minnesota is known for its watershed, whether it's our lakes or the mighty Mississippi. Water is sacred and critical for life. Imagine a park system where families can explore, kids can run and play, and people of all ages and abilities can join together as one community. Imagine a transit system that allows you to not be dependent on a car, with easy and close access, allowing you to get to your destinations quickly and effectively. Who knows, maybe meeting new friends along the way. Imagine living in a community where everyone feels heard and supported, but most of all, valued for what they bring for the greater good of the entire state. Everyone brings value to a community, no matter who they are or where they came from. Imagine a region that is the envy of the nation for the ability to come together as individuals, partnering for all, tackling challenges that many cities across the nation cannot achieve. We have multi-sector resources and commitment to realize these dreams. And for this region, it's no longer an aspiration. It's actually becoming a plan. With a population of more than 3 million, the 7-county region comprised of more than 181 cities and townships is home to more than 300 languages. With more than 1,000 lakes, more than 56,000 acres of regional parks and trails, and all open for public use. There are places to roam and explore, even in the heart of cities. Believe it or not, while we are considered a metropolitan region, over half of our region is still considered farmland. But that is changing, and it has always been changing. This was former farmland right here in Hopkins. Most of the growth we are experiencing is through immigration, and in many ways fueling the economy in a positive way and changing the face of Minnesota. We must adapt with it. That's why the Metropolitan Council exists, to help manage growth in a collaborative and methodical manner, because no one community can do it alone. It's hard work, but I know everyone in this room is up for the challenge. We can't just imagine, we actually have to do. You heard the governor talk about his One Minnesota plan. Well, now it's our turn to show you how the work we are doing is connected to that vision. And it's called Imagine 2050. Our next regional development guide, which happens every 10 years, is being developed as we speak to create, sustain, and a prosperous, equitable, and resilient region with the abundant opportunities for all to live, work, and thrive. This regional guide will lay out the region's values and vision for 2050 and the goals needed to achieve it, given the region's existing conditions and emerging trends. But how do we do this? By leading this work following a set of guiding principles. First, equity. Our region is economically and culturally vibrant. However, we recognize the disparities and injustices that are fueled by racism. We are dedicated to creating systems, policies, and programs that repair and heal past harm and foster an equitable future. Leadership. We value those, like all of you in this room, who inspire and motivate others for positive change. Our region is known for its civic engagement, where leaders in business, foundations, advocacy groups, and government, they're all at the table, motivated by a lot more than their own bottom line. We are blessed with that culture. We need that broad and inclusive leadership to help confront the significant challenges we face around equity, climate change, safety, and other pressing issues. Accountability. At the Met Council, we know we must be effective in our work and achieve measurable outcomes. While our region is known for its research, initiatives, and collaborations, We must be open to the criticism and clearly understand when we are not achieving our known and stated results. We recognize we can maximize our effectiveness by being in partnership with others. We must also be transparent and flexible so we can change course when it's needed. And finally, stewardship. We value our region's resources, which include natural, human, economic, and infrastructure. These resources may be vulnerable over time to shifting conditions, including climate change. We must design our systems, no matter how complicated, and allocate resources in ways that are sustainable and support the needs of not just now, but really future generations. The work we do in collaboration with each and every one of you in this room is profound. Simply put, it's about working together to achieve common ground and common goals. Together, we represent and strive to support the hopes, dreams, hard work, and ultimately the success of residents, businesses, and others served by nearly 190 local entities. That said, we all know working together on hard, complex issues sometimes comes with tensions, divided opinions on how things should be done. That's not unusual in collaborative relationships. In fact, I think it's necessary when building and sustaining healthy communities. As we imagine 2050, our efforts will focus on areas where we can make the most change. Transportation. Some of the questions we are asking ourselves and others as we develop the 2050 regional guide include, are existing transportation conditions equitable and inclusive? What emerging transportation conditions impact our ability to meet the goal of an equitable and inclusive region? About 500,000 more people will be living, working, and moving around the Twin Cities by 2040. They're going to need options. We're going to need a transportation system with choices and more mobility and affordability. Our transportation system needs to work for everyone, connecting people to jobs, school, appointments, and everyday needs and social occasions. The Met Council brings together counties, cities, and townships to address those needs and create a shared vision for our transportation system. Planning our investments in transit come from data and our customers' feedback. With this information, we are able to provide an interconnected regional transit system through a variety of different modes. This is happening during a time when the very nature of travel is changing. In 2022 alone, the Transportation Advisory Board granted federal funding for 91 projects across the region, allocating $350 million to 55 cities in all 7 metro counties. These investments in roads, bridges, transit, as well as regional and local trails, let's face it, building large transportation infrastructure projects takes foresight, commitment, and a little bit of courage. That's because, I've noticed, they're hard to build. They're noisy, and they're disruptive. But most of all, we can't forget, they are transformative. Good transit infrastructure projects create significant economic stimulus compared to other forms of spending. In addition, the positive economic impact of high-frequency transit also supports a healthier environment and allows the region to grow thoughtfully along those transit lines. Given our shared commitment to anti-displacement, this growth must support local residences and businesses. We know between 2009 and 2022, there was more than $44 million worth of development permits issued. Of the $44 billion, $16 billion have been permitted near light rail, bus rapid transit, or high-frequency bus routes. All told, the value of development within transit corridors represents 36% of the development that has been permitted in the region as a whole. And here's the kicker. It's all happening on just 3.2% of the region's land area. Now, I know the planners out here are really getting our heart rates up hearing that, but it is an incredible statistic. Another wonderful outcome of our transit investments is the building of life cycle housing. More than 53,000 multifamily units have been permitted near high-frequency transit. So let me say that again, 53,000 multifamily units. That represents 40% of multifamily units in the region. Why is this important? Because we know many of our neighbors are burdened by the rising costs of housing and transportation. This attempts to address the cost for both and make our communities more affordable and welcoming for all kinds of people and families. This would not have happened had it not been for investing in infrastructure. It's important to acknowledge the tremendous complexity of building the largest public works project in the history of Minnesota, just a few blocks away. When challenges arise, we must acknowledge, and we have responded with authenticity and sincerity. I'm proud to say that the Green Line extension is now on solid ground. More than 80% of the civil construction completed. Project is fully funded, and it is on course, slated to open in 2027. Other projects, like the Gold Line, Purple Line, and yes, the Blue Line, the Blue Line extension, will also make our region more sustainable and connected. We strongly believe the long-term benefits of the Green Line to the region and the state outweigh the short-term challenges that it had faced. At the end of the day, the challenges are worth it because we are building a transportation vision for an entire region. As commuter and workplace patterns change, it's vital that this remains a link for people to get to where they need to go. Transit runs in public spaces, and public issues, they show up at our doorstep. To address this complex issue, the Met Council endorsed the Safety and Security Action Plan in June 2022. And our Chief, Ernest Morales III, who I know is here, he's been with us about a year, and during this year, he's been riding the train and buses, talking to riders, and leading his Department of Police officers and community service officers to address the issues that lead our riders to report feeling unsafe. Well, in addition to the presence provided by the Metro Transit Police Department, we launched the Transit Rider Investment Program in February. We already are hearing positive feedback from customers and seeing movement in the right direction. Reported crimes fell 25% from the first to the last quarter of 2023. Serious crimes, including homicide, sex offenses, robbery, and assault, dropped 13%. While the officer-initiated calls rose 23% during that same time. That's the result of proactive policing. Customer complaints related to public safety on light rail have decreased by 44% in 2023, and we introduced the administrative citations program for fare non-payment, resulting in almost 21,000 fare inspections and more than 1,100 citations so far since its launch just this last December. Finally, ridership has grown to nearly 45 million total rides in 2023, and we're off to a great start in 2024. While we like these positive trends, this work will never end. Our system is far safer than it was 1 year ago, and I'm confident it will be safer next year. That's because providing a welcoming and safe experience on transit is absolutely our highest priority. We know from listening to our riders and staff that having a strong, official human presence on transit is one of the best things we can do to achieve that goal. housing. As we move into regional housing, we are asking if existing housing conditions currently are equitable and inclusive. Residents in our region need homes. They need homes they can afford. And it's no secret, the housing market is less affordable than a decade ago. That's why Met Council recognizes an all-of-the-above approach. Build more homes through the Livable Communities Program and partnerships with Minnesota Housing. Utilize federal funding to build more rent-controlled homes and support housing choice through our distribution of housing choice vouchers and single-family programs and our new affordable homeownership program. Just last month, the Met Council awarded funding to housing projects in 4 of 7 counties in the region through the Livable Communities Grant Program. The housing developments include supportive services and often includes partnerships between communities and nonprofit organizations. This expands affordable housing choices for households earning 50% of area median income or less. We also award funds that support affordable rental and ownership housing opportunities. We kicked off the year with $5.3 million to fund new construction and preserve existing homes. These funds went to 8 city applicants, including Brooklyn Center, Carver, Edina, Golden Valley, Maplewood, Minneapolis, Minnetonka, and St. Paul. This shows our housing investments are truly regional. We made investments in communities across the region, whether they are revitalizing older parts of the region, developing new city centers in suburban areas, and everywhere in between. Parks. As we plan our regional park system, we are asking if regional parks are currently equitable and inclusive. One of the region's great assets is our open space. Wild as well as developed park spaces serve as destinations for millions of residents and visitors. But our data clearly shows there are disparities as to who visits and who can physically access our treasured green spaces. As a region, we're investing in facilities and programs to ensure we are meeting the residents of all residents, and I do mean all residents. Here too, we see collaboration to achieve objectives. At Cedar Lake Farm Regional Park in Scott County, people who already enjoy fishing and camping can now anticipate fun new experiences thanks to 2 upgrade projects performed in partnership between the county and outside organizations. In line with our commitment to recognize and honor parks on the lands of Native peoples, the Met Council partnered with regional parks to provide an artwork and signage in indigenous languages. When Mother Nature wouldn't partner with winter lovers this year, we actually joined forces with Ramsey County to ensure there was snow for the high school Nordic State Ski Championship this year at Battle Creek. While we're proud of our high school championship, big congratulations are in order for the many partners, including the Lopet Foundation and Theodore Wirth Park, which went to almost miraculous lengths to bring the first World Cup competition to the USA in 20 years. I was there. It was an amazing tribute to this region. In a 4-day window of winter, we had an incredible event featuring our own Minnesota Olympic medalist skier, Jessie Diggins. Water. Well, finally, water, the very element that sets Minnesota apart from others. Are we protecting and preserving the most basic, natural, and wonderful resource? On its surface, some may think wastewater is probably the least exciting part of Met Council's role in driving collaboration for our region's future prosperity. Well, nothing could be farther from the truth. Thanks to tough water system planning decisions made in the decades past with broad collaboration, our region is benefiting not only from thoughtful growth, but in ways we couldn't have predicted. When it comes to water, we are ahead of the curve and viewed as a national role model. The planning around wastewater treatment, water supply, and surface water quality represents our broadest area of partnership and collaboration. We work with state and federal agencies, local and county governments, watershed management organizations, interest groups, and the public to protect the region's water resources as the region continues to grow. While municipalities run their own water supply systems, the Council's planning and data resources inform those efforts. And if there was a small bright spot to the COVID-19 pandemic, it was the opportunity to help people appreciate the value of our region's wastewater treatment system. Our wastewater lab was able to track and share data on a COVID rates, which was helpful not only to the public health officials, but it became a model for other regions. We continue to collect and test wastewater supply, samples for other kind of health-related data markers in collaboration now with the University of Minnesota and the Minnesota Department of Health. So at the end of the day, the work we do may seem not so glamorous. Well, it's complex and necessary, and the Met Council was formed, frankly, for these very reasons. A community collaboration setting out to find solutions together, because we make this metro area the best it can possibly be. No one community can do it alone. When it comes to providing affordable housing to this region, we couldn't succeed without the partnership that we do together, especially with counties. So thanks to all the county commissioners who are here today. This year, our regional parks and trails system turns 50. We want to thank the legislature who created the regional park system in 1974, and our regional park partners who actually own and operate the system. Together, we have been able to develop this world-class system that contributes so much to our region's high quality of life for all residents. We now have long-term funding to ensure we build and maintain a transit system that will serve generations to come. Thank you to all the lawmakers, transit advocates, trades, environmental groups, and others who worked so hard for increased investment in transit last year. As the governor says, your voice matters. Well, I'm committed to partnering with all of you to create a region that is truly the envy of the nation. We have the resources, but most of all, people like you truly believe Minnesota is a great state. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being our partners. And most of all, thank you so much for the commitment you have for this outstanding region.
Chair Charlie Zelli, everybody, give it up. That's fantastic. With that, I have the privilege of introducing our next speaker. First appointed in 2019, she is the vice chair of the Metropolitan Council. Reva Chambliss represents District 2, which includes, and hold your applause for the end, Anoka County, the cities of Columbia Heights, Fridley, and Hilltop in Ramsey County, and New Brighton and Hennepin County, as well as the cities of Brooklyn Park, Champlin, and Osseo. So please, a big round of applause to Vice Chair Reva Chambliss.
Thank you, Tane. My name, as he said, is Reva Chambliss, and I'm so pleased to see so many of you that I know here today. I'm happy you were here as we imagine our future together. First, it's really an honor to be able to tell you a little bit about myself today. I've been living in the state of Minnesota my entire life, in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and spent the last 24 years in Brooklyn Park. I was also asked to share with you why I came to the Met Council and the interesting journey that got me there. I came from a childhood that was challenging at best, but I was able to overcome. So on my journey and path to community service, I believe there are certain things that can change the trajectory from where you are to where you're going. My story is, I was once a painfully shy girl who jumps now into various leadership roles for the public good. I've learned that in life, you will have seeds that are planted in you that if you take the opportunity to water them, nurture them, and feed them with nutrients, they will grow and blossom, and you'll have the resources that you need to add value to the world. Overcoming personal challenges included being the first in my family to attend college. When I first told my mom that I wanted to attend college, she said, you know, it's gonna be really hard. And I said, well, I think I'm up for the challenge. But when she realized later that I had an internship with a job in the suburbs, she made sure that I could get to my job in Minnetonka and took me to a used car dealership where I watched her put 3 of her hard-earned paychecks on the table. I'm so thankful to the generosity and the sacrifice of my mother, the support of many mentors, and Inroads career and development training that I'm so grateful for, that I was able to graduate from the University of Carlson School of Management and then spent 35 years working as a business analyst with various corporations. It was important for me to remember what I was told by several of my mentors while I was in college, that after I graduate, I should come back to the community and give back to the community where I came from. A little bit about why I came to be on the Met Council. I have worked to keep a promise to give back by volunteering, serving on boards of directors, and supporting young minorities in getting access to college and careers, and serving in various community leadership roles. After serving as a Brooklyn Park Human Rights Commissioner, I ran for its city council. I didn't win, but I served in leadership for political positions, and those positions and those experiences led me to decide to run and apply for the Met Council. Now I'm in my second term, and it's been an honor to be appointed and serve as vice chair of the Met Council. I'm grateful to serve alongside other council members to assure that we have a strong, thriving region that delivers equity and secures a prosperous future for everyone. I'm particularly proud to be serving on the most diverse Metropolitan Council in the organization's history. I'm very proud of that. A council that is truly, thank you, that is truly reflective of our region. I'm proud to serve along with 16 colleagues that bring their lived experiences to the issues and opportunity we have in front of us today. And I can share with you that we may not always agree, and that's just fine given the scope and the depth of the many issues before us. I will also share with you, we are here because we are passionate about the work of the Met Council, and we are passionate about our communities. Please do not hesitate to connect with us. With that, I would like to take this moment to recognize our Metropolitan Council members who are here with us today. If you could, will you please stand and be acknowledged? Thank you so much. I know that I'm personally here for a purpose, and I want to use my time, my abilities, and resources that are so very plentiful in the state of Minnesota to build a framework to ensure equity in housing, transportation, and community development by working with others to create consistency for policies, plans, and practices that lead a strong, resilient, impactful, and lasting legacy for the next generation. I thank you very much for the time to share about myself and my goals for the region, and I look forward to continuing to serve with all of you as we imagine 2050. Thank you.
Chambliss, everybody. All right, now I get to introduce the regional administrator for the Metropolitan Council, Ryan O'Connor, who the very first note in my script about him notes, he started at the Metropolitan Council on March 11th. Which is just 2 weeks ago. So imagine, you're just starting in something, and then you get to come to something like this. This is an exciting high bar to start with. He brings a tremendous wealth of experience, though, to this role, previously serving as county administrator for Ramsey County. I'm pausing for applause for Ramsey County. There's Ramsey. Yeah, I knew there were Ramsey County people here. In his role as administrator, Ryan will lead the organization of more than 4,000 employees and oversees development of the Metropolitan Council's policies and programs, provide leadership implementation, and advise the chair and council members on a host of different issues and programs. Please, a big welcoming round of applause to Ryan O'Connor.
Those stairs are no joke. I'm just going to tell you right now. I need someone to catch me. It's an honor to be here in week 2, so thank you for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today. And it truly is an honor to stand before you in this new capacity as regional administrator of the Metropolitan Council. It's a day filled with hope, optimism, and a shared commitment toward prosperity for every single person who calls this region their home. I've had the great fortune of working with many dedicated community members and public servants, many of whom are here today in this room over the past 2 decades in statewide, regional, and local positions of public service. As I think about the Met Council specifically, each area of our work spanning transportation, housing, wastewater, parks, reminds me of the uniqueness of this great region, both in the outcomes that we build together and the way in which we do the work together to make sure that we are forever improving the world around us for those who will come next. In the words that have preceded mine, Chair Zelli and Councilmember Chambliss, on behalf of the entire 17-member Metropolitan Council, laid out a regional vision, not only for this year, but for the many years to come, that highlight opportunities for us all to work together to build a vibrant, equitable, and thriving region. It is an exciting vision, and it comes at a time of great opportunity for us all. And I know that together we will meet the demands of the moment in front of us. As the regional administrator, it is my responsibility to lead thousands of dedicated and talented public servants at the Metropolitan Council to ensure that our visions for the region become the reality. I'm excited to share a bit more today about each of these areas happening with the Council's work in hopes that you leave with feelings of possibility, optimism, and partnership that will drive us forward on the good days and the days filled with challenges. Starting with transportation. Last year saw the most significant investment in transportation that our region has seen in generations. I'm excited to share with you a general vision for that funding and how it will be put to use to sustain and build our region over the decades ahead. First, and if you remember one number, remember this. We estimate raising more than $22 billion over the next 30 years to sustain and build a transit and transportation network befitting of a thriving, growing, and dynamic region such as this. Of that $22 billion, approximately 85% of the funding will be used to sustain today's system and deliver on visions already in motion. This means that today's network will continue without question, with safety, reliability, and cleanliness as fully funded elements of all plans moving forward. It also means that the Green Line extension and the Blue Line extension will be completed. It also means that the Gold Line and the Purple Line and the Riverview Corridor to our east will become reality. And it means the build-out of an arterial bus rapid transit system with a dozen lines spanning our region, lettered A through L, that will connect people across this region to high-frequency, high-quality transit in ways that those who have come before us have only dreamt about. We look forward to starting strategic and thoughtful conversations about investments that address the remaining 15% of funding not even reflected in that exciting vision I just outlined. And that will be a big part of the Metropolitan Council's work in the year ahead. But ultimately, we know that those remaining funds offer opportunities to further expand coverage, frequency, technology, and equity across a region that deserves nothing but the very best. As I move into the area of wastewater, the year ahead will advance significant infrastructure investments that ensure we have the capacity we need to support the regional growth of tomorrow, while also beginning to thoughtfully evaluate emerging opportunities in water reuse that will keep our region on the cutting edge of technological innovation and environmental stewardship. Turning toward housing, it is important to acknowledge in our region, as in regions throughout this nation, that housing affordability and access are inextricably linked to current and future regional prosperity. Working with every single person in this room, we can ensure that our region is a place that is seen both by people wanting to live there and being able to afford to live there. And together we can do that to ensure we live and thrive. We want to ensure that this is a region that collectively and consistently welcomes longtime and new residents every single day, for we can build a model of regional prosperity other places will seek to emulate. I believe our region has been and will continue to be a place where we all can wake up and believe we can achieve our ambitions and fulfill our dreams. Using all available tools through the comprehensive planning processes that involve every community in this region, while also aligning our other infrastructure and financial tools available across the Met Council's full suite of work, we can incentivize efficient, environmentally forward, and inclusive development. Addressing housing affordability is a generational challenge that will be a determinant of future regional prosperity. And 2024 will be a year in which the Met Council actively leans into ensuring we move forward with the boldness, clarity of purpose, and collaboration that is required. As we think about our parks, we all appreciate living in one of the most beautiful regions in this country. Our region is well known for its parks and open space, and that's for good reason. The Metropolitan Council's most recent annual visitor study showed that 69 million visitors used our 56 regional parks. These visits roamed across more than 415 miles of trails and more than 56,000 acres of land, with much of that happening right around the area we currently sit in here today. And as we continue to work to ensure that every person sees our regional parks and open space as a place they can access and enjoy, we can build on work like projects that we did last year in Ramsey County that installed colorful art panels and wayfinding produced by Indigenous artists and artists of color. As the former Ramsey County manager, I can personally tell you this work inspired residents to think of themselves as a part of our regional parks in new and different ways than had happened before. It was one of the most praised efforts that the county was a part of last year, and that was in partnership with the Metropolitan Council. I look forward to additional opportunities to work with all of you in this room on similar initiatives in every corner of this region, so we can celebrate topping 70 million visits in our parks this year. It is clear through these words and the words that preceded mine that there is a significant body of work in front of the Metropolitan Council and this entire region. Some may see it as daunting. I hope you agree with me to see it as exhilarating. I'm here to tell you I took on this role because I know that we as a region and we as a Met Council are collectively up to delivering on this entire vision. I want you to know that we will strive every day to deliver this work with a commitment to transparency and accountability, so you know where we are doing our work, you know why we are doing it and it is important, and you know how you can be a part of something that is bigger than any one person, one community, or one organization. On behalf of the entire Metropolitan Council, and on behalf of the 4,000 plus dedicated staff who come to work every day committed to making this region better, thank you for being here today and for your commitment to our shared regional prosperity. Today is the start of exciting conversations and work that will propel us forward over the next year together, and it is only the beginning. Please take a moment and talk to our teams that are here today, learn more, and please find your unique way to get involved. We need you. We are stronger working with you, and it is time to turn our visions and words into action. So now I say, onward together.
Okay, so we are going to move into the panel part of this program, which I'm very excited about because we heard from both the chair and our other speakers about hearing from all different parts of our community. But before we do that, and maybe in very much the same spirit, we did a moment before where we asked members of the council to stand up. There's a lot of actually people who are doing really valuable, important work in this room. And so actually just right now I was going to ask, if you are someone who is an advocate or an activist, someone who is really pushing for different things in our community, can we just take a moment for you to stand up and for us to acknowledge you, all the advocates in the room who are working on these different issues? Yeah, this is good. Stand up, like take a moment, like let us acknowledge you all. Yeah, this is good. Yeah. Yeah, see, thank you. We are glad you're here. And I'm going to do one more just because I've been in this business long enough to know, like, we have lots of layers of government, and if you don't acknowledge all of them, then we get in trouble. Our city people, who are our city folks who are working in our cities? Can you just stand up for a minute? Like, very important. Thank you all. Oh, yeah, look at all the city people. Thank you so much for being here. Honestly, like, this is one of the beautiful, wonderful things about the work that happens in this space and all across our region is it is about all these folks coming together at these different levels, and that is a great transition into this final part of this morning's program where we wanted to put together a panel of really smart folks who are approaching this work and what we are trying to build together for this region for 2050, but doing it at different spaces and in different ways, and get them to share a little bit about how they are thinking about this, to ask some big questions of all of us, and frankly, to challenge us to think bigger about how we are going to do that work. So, with that, I'm going to introduce each of them. So, we have, for this amazing, wonderful panel, another Ramsey County Commissioner, Mary Jo McGuire, is going to come on up here. Also, we have Woodbury Mayor Ann Burt joining us. And then the CEO of the African American Leadership Forum, Dear Mosley, everybody. Come on down. Come over, sit here with me, yeah. Yeah, come on down. If you don't, or I don't know. We didn't assign this ahead of time, so we can figure it out. This is not planned against the idea of the whole thing. Have a seat, yes, and please make sure your microphones are on. Okay, so we've heard a lot this morning, and there's big visions about what the region will be like in 2050, and maybe just as sort of a starting place, when you think about 2050, and there's a lot you could say, but what are the things that you imagine are the competitive edge, the places where this region is or needs to be doing really, really well in order to stand out and be strong, whether that's economically, culturally, for our people, for our places? What is it that we are doing extremely well in 2050? And then we'll talk about whether we're doing that now and how to get there.
Okay. Well, thanks, Dane. And first of all, thanks to all of you for being here. And I'd like all the county the county people to stand.
county
Oh
people.
my
Sorry,
gosh.
I apologize.
Let's have
County
the county
people also
all
stand up.
stand. All the county
Thank you. That's good.
workers and the people that are here from counties. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you, Tane. And just thanks to all of the great energy in this room. I'm inspired by all the speakers that we've had before here. And of course, you can't get any more energetic than our Chair Zelli. And I just want to say, coming from Ramsey County, that you are getting a really great person in our regional administrator. We're so excited. If you're going to lose a great guy as your county manager, it's great to have him go to a place where he can really do regional work, where he can do great work. And Ryan, we know you're going to do amazing work here, so thank you for taking this on. He's amazing. So I want to just say how excited I am for this region. We know there's a lot of challenges, and we know there's a lot of work to be done, but look at all the people in this room and all the energy. When you asked about the advocates standing, I'm so grateful for the advocates, but I feel like we're all advocates. Like, we are all working for this region. We are, I said to Mayor Burt, we both said we want to stand because we believe in the work that everyone is doing here. And if the Met Council wasn't here, we'd be all looking for ways to do regional work. Because I will say that counties generally do regional work. We band together in many ways. If the Met Council's not doing it, we're doing it with our MELSA, with our regional library system. We have a regional parks group. We have regional emergency managers group. We do regional work in our recycling and energy. And so I just think that there's so many opportunities to do great work, and we're doing a lot of it, and we have so much more to do.
And so is that part of the answer then? Is like, if we're successful by 2050, it is because there is this collaboration, people figuring out how to work this together.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I add to that? I would. So I think one of the ways that's going to make 2050 really great is really basing it on the foundation that we already have. And I brought with me today our comprehensive guide. Our comprehensive plan, this is our 2040 plan, and I know we're embarking upon getting ready for the 2050 plan. But let me take a minute and just share a little bit about Woodbury that many of you don't know. I know a lot of you are St. Paul or Minneapolis, you're on the west side, but sometime you ought to get over to the east side and see what's going on over there. Woodbury is now the 8th largest city in Minnesota. How many people knew that? Only a few.
There's multiple hands went up.
And how did we get there? We got there because of decades long of this comprehensive planning process that takes a comprehensive view of how it is we need to grow. We started a very, very tiny community. 40 some years ago, we were about 10,000. We've now grown to 82,000 residents in our community. And we've done it because we have ensured that we look at the needs of all of our community together. From a housing perspective, people don't know this either. We are 50% single-family homes and 50% multifamily housing. That includes townhomes, duplexes, and then a lot of apartments. In the last 6 years, since 2018, we've added 682 units of affordable housing. Thank you. We are the 6th largest. I think we got the mayor of Minnetonka here. I think you beat me by one. Fifth most. But our communities are adding affordable housing and adding housing of a variety of types to meet all income levels, family status, what have you. We've got it. In addition, the transit opportunities that are coming. We are getting the Gold Line into our community. Thank you, Lake Elmo, for missing out on that. Woodbury's happy to have it. And now, I know, we chatted earlier. I'm being nice, but it's true. Woodbury's happy that happened. But transit is coming, and it's fantastic. We're excited about some microtransit. So what does 2050 look like? It's building upon what we've already got going, and there are so many great things happening in the region. And I, for one, have been so impressed. I'm so new in this role of government, really. But just to see what the Metropolitan Council does and how exceptional they are around the country for this type of regional planning. So I think that sets the stage for 2050.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I don't represent a city or a county, but let me tell you how amazing black people are.
This is good. This could be the rest of the talk.
Yeah, this could be the rest of the talk. But I'm happy to serve as the CEO of the African American Leadership Forum. And when I think about 2050, the word that comes to mind to me is freedom. And that is for all individual stations in 2050 that we are having today. And that should be our collective quest. This region is not short of innovation. It's not short of brilliant people who are willing to make the investments here. We have an untold story, I think, across this country with the level of innovation and radicalness that has really come out of this state. And so how do we make sure that that's extremely accessible for every single person to be able to thrive in all the ways? And so that we need to double down on that level of equity and justice as we think about 2050.
And so to build on that, we talked there's work that is happening now, and we talked about some of the things that are happening. So what is some of the work that we're doing now that we need to do more of? And are there things that, frankly, we aren't doing yet and we need to start doing more of to get there?
Yeah, when I think about this is, I think we have lots of strategies. One of the principles that we're using inside of our organization, and shout out to the amazing folks from the African American Leadership Forum, Amber, Sam, Kendrick, Boosie, who are here with me, is we're using this approach of targeted universalism. And that is, most of the things that we're describing are good for the broader public. But one of the things, we need to get specific, we need to get targeted in our approaches, because that is how we're going to erase the kind of disparities and the inequities that exist in our country. All of the things that have been described by the chair and by the the new regional administrator, thank you, will be undermined if we don't address and get specific around what we're trying to target in this moment as it relates to economics, education, and community development. And so those are the places specifically that I think we need to get extremely targeted in our approaches.
Say that one more time, just so we make sure we get it.
Education, economic development, and the economics. So when we think about household income, when we think about affordability and some of those things. And so those are things that we're addressing. Those tend to be great equalizers. From that, every great things will stem from it.
Right. So, I was going to look to our commissioner and our mayor about, there is a piece where it's like, these are goals, and it's, I don't know, there's a part where it's sort of easy to sit on or stand at a stage and talk about these things, but then, like, actually manifesting them, like making them into plans and work, as the chair challenged us. Like, we can't just talk about it, we can do it. Can you just talk a little bit about how how do we make this work manifest?
Absolutely, Dane. We are needing to be in action here, and we all know that. We can talk about it all we want, but until we get it done. I'll just talk about a couple of examples. One is our workforce innovation boards that we all have in our communities, and these are boards that are working on innovative ways that we can bring our workforce together, and we bring together businesses and schools, counties, cities. We all sit on these, we have a number of people that sit on these boards, and we come together and we really get the work done. I mean, that is, they're digging deep into the community and they get the work done. I'm seeing members out in the audience who sit on those boards, and so that's an example of the kinds of things that we know we need to be working on. We have a recycling and energy board that's doing amazing work. We have that with Washington County, and it's going to be a great model for everybody in the country, I think, with our anaerobic digester and our food scraps program that is in action right now, and we're piloting it now, and every household in the region wants to have this program where you drop your food scraps in a bag, and then you tie it up, put it in your garbage, and it gets processed. It gets taken to the processing plant, and it gets taken out at the processing plant and then put into compost or anaerobic digester, so you only have one collection system. This is a thing that everybody wants to have, and we're modeling it in Ramsey, Washington. So these are some of the things that we're working on, and we need to have action. The public requires it, we require it of ourselves, and it takes great people like are in this crowd to be working on it, but we need to be moving forward. And I would say, we always said in our board, we want it faster, quicker, now. We want it all done, but we know we gotta bring people along on that.
And, go ahead, Mayor.
I was going to say, add a little color to the aerobic digester and the food scraps program. It is an amazing tour to take to see what the county of Washington and Ramsey have built in removing this food waste. It's a robot. It's using AI to train it. And it's open. You should all visit it sometime. But do not go. When I went last year, it was July. It was 100 degrees. Not the time to go visit a waste plant.
Well,
Yeah,
that is good advice.
but
So can I, because you've got also a role, because I hear, again, the call for us to do this work, and there's certain parts of this work. There's also a piece about telling that story and helping, frankly, like a whole community understand that we are in this together. And I'm wondering if you can share a little bit about how you have done that, or advice that, like, how do we make sure that people get, like, exactly what Adir's talking about, like that we need to build this freedom for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just say there are so many components to making the region work together. It's nonprofit organizations, it's county government, it's city government, it's state government, it's businesses, it's economic development things. We have to work together. And I would say one thing that I think is important and vital is that we all stay in our lane and work in our lane, but we've got to be all moving in the same direction, and we need to work collaboratively together. And I think there's so many great examples of, again, cities working on their comprehensive plans in collaboration with the Met Council, but these plans have to be approved and reviewed by all the cities that surround us and the school districts as we plan for growth. So I think those are ways, again, it's just the collaboration piece. Gathering events like this just are very informal. How many different people I've spoken to today and had great conversations because we come together and we're all moving in the same direction. So I think that's vital going forward.
Yeah, that's a good. So we're bringing people together. We're talking about these different things. I guess there is 2050 is a long way off, and so maybe I would just ask it this way: if you were to sort of give a stretch goal in some ways for like this region, then now I'm actually asking some very like concrete things. Like, what are some of the things that you are imagining look or are different, like on the ground, like how we either live, get around, or even maybe like how we work together that's different in 2050? I stumped them.
Wasn't sure who you were pointing
yeah,
to.
it's an open, yeah.
I think we're going to, what is population growth going to look like? I can imagine that we're going to be more dense. And so we need, more density. We're going to have people working together more. It'll be interesting to see what work looks like in the year 2050. I mean, we've all learned to appreciate the opportunities to work remotely, work from home, but we still need to get around. We are people of community. We do need to connect in various ways. I know, again, I'll point out to Woodbury how we are growing in diversity. We are currently a community of 40% diverse population. 30% diverse population, but our youth are 40%. So we're growing in diversity, and it's really just splendid and wonderful. And to have community celebrations like we had recently, a One Woodbury event where we bring people of our community together to celebrate their uniqueness has just been fantastic. So I would see going forward, we're going to continue to grow in diversity. We need to continue to have various housing options, transportation abilities. There's just going to be a lot more people, and I think it's going to be wonderful. I'm excited to see where we're going.
Are there specific, you mentioned a few of them, but in terms of that, the piece you challenged us at the beginning, thinking about a region that is free and full of opportunity for everyone, like specific things that start to paint that picture for us in 2050.
Yeah, one of the things that comes to mind for me is there are an immense amount of emerging sectors and that are coming right here into our region as we think about sustainability. I see Jameez Staples in here and the work that he's doing around solar energy in North Minneapolis. As we think about artificial intelligence, fintech, biotech, all of these things are coming right into our region. This region is determined as a high growth hub. And then I think about who gets to benefit from that and who gets access as the entrepreneur, as we think about workforce development strategies, as we think about career and trade tech for our young people. And so I can't help but think about that stretch goal, making sure that we don't continue to widen that gap, that those who, thank you. And so how do we get a level of specificity and target it in our approach so that we that we can have a region that thrives. I know, for example, one of our fintech entrepreneurs in the region who said that there just wasn't opportunity for him, or there wasn't the network, and so had to move his business down to Dallas. And so we hear these stories anecdotally and have facts around that, and so really, really thinking about that as an opportunity for growth, as a stretch goal. The other thing I'll add here is that this is, I love plans like 2050, and I think that there are a lot of structured wins that can happen along the way. But I was telling the team, McKinsey just released a report, if you all know this, that at the rate and pace that we're going right now against these inequities, it will take 210 years for black people to be at parity with where white people are today, right here. Which means that it won't happen in our lifetime, our children, or our grandchildren, or our great-grandchildren. So my stretch goal actually is faster, at scale, and making sure that it's transformative and intentional. And unless we are doing that, unless we are moving with that level of specificity in this moment, the things in which we're doing, we won't be able to see it. And that should stop everyone in their tracks, that it's going to take us 210 years. And so I rise every day with a deep sense of conviction that I want to see it in my lifetime. And I am moving not only the organization, but I am trying to move a collective community around making sure and ensuring that we can see it in this lifetime.
And to make that happen, that we're talking about a 2050 plan, but that's not something that you can sort of say, oh, we're just building that into the plan. You have to have that within how you build the plan. Who is at the table building that plan? Who are you talking to? How are you bringing the pieces together that even start to think about what the plan is in the first place?
Absolutely. I'm so glad that it's hard to follow CEO Mosley. He's amazing. I told him, I said, I just want to sit back and listen to you talk about all the things in the vision that you have, because it's so important. And you mentioned how we need to be deliberate about it, and we definitely do. And we can be. We can't just wait for it to happen. It can't just be on the plan. We have to be really deliberate about who is at our table. How are we engaging our communities? How are we not just putting out a notice that says, oh, public hearing? How are we meeting communities where they're at? We have a whole amazing different ways that now we engage our community, way more than just having a public hearing on it. We reach out. We have lots of community advisory councils where that we talk to. So it's who's at the table. It's who do we hire? How do we what kind of requirements do we have for our job applicants? We don't maybe need some of those requirements, and because it's shutting out certain members of the community. So we're looking at applications. We're looking at procurement. How are we working with our communities in procurement? It's every aspect of the work that we do, and I know that we're all concerned about this, and we just need to keep working at it so that it isn't so many generations away where we can get parity, but we have to be very deliberate in every aspect of the work that we all do.
If I may, I wanted to build on this, and I want to say this in front of the room because I recognize that one of the things I think in order to build towards this future, that we really need strong institutions and leaders. We cannot do it, and I want to actually applaud the folks who have the courage to run for office.
I think that's very valuable in this moment, yeah.
Whether I agree with your politics or not, there's courage in that, right? And unless we are in this moment defending the leaders who I think wrestle with really, really tough decisions, the mayors, the city council leaders, the county administrators, these folks who carry a lot of weight on their shoulder. And so we have to figure out a way to protect them. We have to figure out a way to galvanize behind and to mobilize because we cannot do this if there is erosion in the institutions and the leaders in our region. This plan will not come to fruition if we don't have those strong institutions and leaders. And so whatever we can do, and I always say, where's the class, whether it's at the University of Minnesota or what other institution that is producing courageous leadership, That is the conversation we need in this moment, is courageous leadership. And, you know, I said, if I ever ran for anything, I would tell people I'm only going to do it for one term, because I am going to make the most courageous decisions in that one term possible, because I know that's what absolutely is necessary in this moment. And
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
just going.
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
going to be done after this. I promise.
You might get cut out of the last question, but we'll
that's
do it
fine.
fast.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Because one of the other, as a form of solidarity, one of the things I really, really want to call out is I see Mr. Lilligren here, and we don't. I certainly represent the work of blacks, but we don't talk about the extreme disparity of our Native communities, and I think we absolutely need to be talking about. And actually, when we disaggregate that level of data, those that were here first, when we disaggregate that level of data, the just alarming disparities that exist within our Native populations who have been just erased a lot from the narrative. And I want to make sure I bring that back to the center as a form of solidarity here.
That's good. Okay, no, don't turn it off, because I have one last sort of lightning round question for all three of you, which is this has been a tremendous morning. We've gotten a lot of information. You've given us a lot, and I don't want people to walk out and just just think about it, but I want to give them sort of like, okay, what do we do from here? So if you had one final thing to sort of like charge people with, ask people to do, either how they should engage, what questions they should ask, how they should participate and be a part of this building, this process, this thinking, what is maybe one thing that you would just sort of, again, in maybe one sentence or two sentences, like you would ask people to really take home and make sure that they keep this going with?
I'll just give you one of my favorite quotes is to engage others, have courage, and be kind.
Beautiful. That's good.
Well, it's hard to top that. I don't have a quote off the top of my head, but I do also want to thank you for just recognizing the difficulties of being an elected official or running or campaigning. But I would just say overall, what needs to happen is we need the public to be fully engaged. This all can be very complex work, but we do need to hear from our local residents, our constituents, to hear your voice, because that matters.
That's beautiful. Thank you. C.R. Mosley?
My question probably would be in this moment, is it, no one is looking for charity, no one is looking for handout, and so are the decisions that we're bringing to this table really rooted in transformative impact? Do they move away from incrementalism to scale? I think those are the types of critical questions we need to be asking around the table to take the types of leaps that we need to make collectively as a region.
On that note, can you do a big round of applause for this tremendous panel? Amazing conversation. And actually, just keep that going, because we are going to bring back to the stage to say goodbye to us all. Please, one more time, a round of applause for Chair Charlie Zelle.
I just want to take a moment to thank Tane and our wonderful panel and dear Mary Jo. This is so fabulous, each of you today. Look, I hope all of you here will see reasons to celebrate and see the value, obviously, of working together. And we've heard some great thoughts and wonderful kind of inspiration from the panel to not just incrementally, but let's just get this at scale and let's take action. And we're tackling some of the region's toughest issues, and we outlined them today in a number of speeches, so we won't go on and on about that, but it's because of our shared vision, our ability to do the hard work. Frankly, the state of our union, the state of our region is strong, and the state of our region is connected, and we can't lose sight of that. And most importantly, the region is full of promise for everyone. So thank you so much for being here. If you're driving, drive safely. Thank you, MnDOT, and enjoy the rest of your day.